Good morning to all of you. So today we will be having the third session of Advanced Excel, and we'll have good examples to see, and definitely a lot of learnings to take. So we will begin now. So in our last session, we had spoken about different functions and other VLOOKUP functions and all lookup functions. So any queries from those topics, or you want me to revisit any of the topic, please let me know. Any particular query related to any of those topics what we discussed last day. So please, you can put it in your chat window. I'll take it up at the appropriate time. Okay. In our last session, we had discussed about this data, which was sales data. It was a simple Excel file, and we could do some if conditions and all these things. We implemented if conditions and discounts and everything based on the values. Now, formatting is something that was not done in extensive manner. So what we will do, we will start with the formatting part today. How do we format and interactively format the data? And then we will proceed to data visualization concepts, like how to make good charts, and definitely we will try to accommodate some good charts over in this particular data. And the main objective of today's session will be to make a pivot table from any given data, and then work around with that and see what kind of story that particular pivot table has in store for us. So those all things we will see today. So primarily, whenever we are talking about, yeah, definitely. So we have received a question saying that, could you please show us how to format for printing? Okay, definitely we will take it up. Okay. Now, when we talk about data formatting, like we had created something called this table. Like if you go to home and then format as table, and we could convert this into a table like this. Fine. So this is what we know. Now, if we choose to take a simple design, that would be better, because we will be seeing something else over here today, and we'll definitely do some interactive work over here. Okay. Now, just a moment. Yeah. These are not a part. Okay. So since it was within the range, it took it as a table. However, this was not a table. So we'll just have this particular option lined up here. So yes. Now we had seen some table formatting, but let's take an example that we have this laptop and we wanted to highlight something, like where is my laptop, just to show. So we say that we can do it using conditional formatting, and just for this particular data we could do all the formatting part here, but I will show you now. See what we were doing, we were just doing conditional formatting and new rule, and then we said that okay, we can take it as a format and then say equal to, and wherever this is equal to this particular laptop, it will show me a color, let's say like this. So this is what we discussed, and then we could format this for the entire data set, and we could see that yes, things are getting changed. So instead of laptop, if I say digicam, it was getting highlighted. So this was happening fine, but we wanted to take a step ahead. Instead of putting a direct conditional formatting, we wanted that okay, what if the entire row can be highlighted? Right now what is happening, only a part, only a column is getting highlighted. So we wanted that okay, is it possible to highlight the entire table or entire row? So I say that it is very simple to do it. Watch it very carefully how I'm doing that particular thing here. This would be very uh, effective. First of all, I clear off the formatting. Okay, and then what you need to do, instead of selecting only that particular cell or that particular column, I would suggest that you select the entire data, leaving the record header. You select the entire data and then you start applying conditional formatting. You say conditional formatting, but here what you will do, you will use a formula instead of a particular cell or a particular column, and then you will say that if whatever we have in this particular uh, data, if the e column or whatever column A, B, C, D, E, this is E, group is E. So if the E column is having this particular data like laptop or whatever it is, then please highlight it. See how simple it is to do. You just take, you say, because it is a formula, you have to start it with equal to, and then you say that this is E. You say that I don't want to move from E, so that's why I'm giving $E, and then you put the first row of the data. So our data starts from row number 2, you give it that way. 2 is equal to, it should be equal to what? It should be equal to this particular, let me show you, where is laptop? So this particular laptop. Okay, so it looks like this. However, we have not given any format, so we would be looking for a format here, and then we say okay. So our formatting looks like this. So equal to E2, E is the column which contains our group, the laptop part, and we said that if it is matching with L2, L2 means where I have written laptop. If it is there, if those two things are matching, then please highlight it. So I say okay, see what happens. All the rows containing laptops are getting highlighted. So instead of laptop, if you write digicam here, you will see that digicam records are getting highlighted. So this is seen, we have not done any extra work here, just saying that apply the condition formatting to the entire set of records, and then always maintain to check the E column of it. So that's what we have done here. If you go to formatting and manage rules, you can easily see, if you go to this worksheet, you can easily see whatever the function or the format we have mentioned here. We said that please apply this particular conditional formatting from A2 to A129, J129, which is the table that we have made, and then put the formula as wherever you are. Let's say I am in this particular column B, doesn't matter, but I need to check if the E column of that particular row is having the word laptop, then highlight it. So that is the logic behind highlighting the particular record. And then always I'm pointing to E column. E column is nothing but the group. So I'm always looking for this group, and the moment you change something, obviously the data also changes. The highlighting portion also changes over here. So this is how it works. So you can see that if you put any of these options here, it automatically takes those details. So this was just a way of putting interactive formatting and also group formatting, what we say, using formula. So using data formatting, we know how to do it using simple data formatting. The same way, we just had to highlight and then say where we have our own data for which we want the formatting to be. But formatting a row, because I got some questions, I got some queries while in some corporate training batches. So they asked, like, is it possible to highlight the entire record? Like the way we see for some of the tools or something, you select something and it automatically gives which are the highlighted ones, which are the actual records. We don't have to search throughout the table. I said, yes, this is possible. We just have to use a formula instead of a direct value. And this is how it is done. So tomorrow, if you want to highlight based on the sales, then instead of D, you give E. Instead of E, you give D and mention this particular thing here over here. Okay. So that was it for this interactive formatting part. So in case of any queries or issues, please let me know. We will definitely take it. And we can use all this kind of formatting in large amount of data wherein you have different data sets and you want things to be highlighted or segregated based on a particular formula. So formula can also be used for conditional formatting. So that was one takeaway from this particular data set. Now, before we move on to the next uh, point or next topic, I would like to show you something over here also, that with the conditional formatting that we have given, it is also possible to make some charts or graphs within the data. So if you have some data and you want to make some charts or graphs, then it is also possible using conditional formatting. So now what you have to do, let's take an example that you want to see that how is my numbers looking like. So I see, if I see the numbers 14, I can see somewhere, I can see 82 somewhere. So I am not understanding that how big is 14 for this particular column. So for that, what you need to do, just highlight the particular column, and then you have an option here which says conditional formatting and data bars. So data bars, see here, just a moment. Okay, so you just select this particular data and say data bars, and you select something like this. Any color you can select. Now what it shows, that this particular number 3 is actually a very low number. compared to whatever data points we have for this particular group. So instantly, without using a graph or a chart, we can directly plot these kind of things within a column itself. So this is one of the benefit of using conditional formatting. Apart from the highlighting of figures or highlighting of data, you can also make a sort of charts or graphs within the data. So that is obviously possible. And also we have something called this particular icon sets. So if you want to have a look at like how this if you want to just have a look at, just to give you a glimpse of like how the data is working here, how comparatively how my data is looking like. So you can put some icon sets like this. So or let's say you can change the icon sets like this, like this. So this has got some meaning actually. I will show you. So if you just put like this, see red, green and amber, or what we say this as red, amber, green, or rag. So automatically this column is converted to rag, and there is a logic behind it. What it does actually, it considers all the data whatever is there in that particular column and segregates it into three divisions. So just as a range, it segregates, and then based on the segregation, it will color it. Like if it is red, how much is red out of that entire data, how much we consider as a green for the entire data. It automatically creates the range and then does the coloring part of it. At any point of time, if you want to see how this colorings have been done, you can just go to yes, yeah, you can go to this options. It says manage these icons, and there you can see that icon styles are obviously there, and it automatically selects this 67 and 33%. So it says that if it is less than 33%, then it will be red. If it is between 33 and 67%, it will be amber, and more than 67%, it will be green. So this is how it happens. It automatically converts your data into a range and then formats it. So this is the logic behind putting those small LED dots in your data. So just for putting a rag value. So this is a kind of dashboard which we can present to the client, like whenever we have a situation where we have some data and we want to graphically represent it or present it in front of the client. Then these are small tips and tricks what we can do with the data. So this was the concepts of conditional formatting, and this was the concept of data bars, and this was the concept of icons, putting icons within the table. So this was a very important section. Okay, now let me show you something different out of the tables. Yes, so we have again got a question saying that for any given set, when do we do data icon, does it calculate averages? No, actually it does not calculate averages, but what it does, it takes the first, so out of this entire data set, it will take the minimum and the maximum, whatever is the minimum maximum, and then can we change the value for conditional formatting icons automatically? No, we can change. That's what I told you. Like if you are in this particular place and you go to conditional formatting icon sets, and then you go to rules, you can actually set the conditional formatting option over here. So instead of 67%, if you want that anything beyond 75% should be green, then definitely you can calculate that. So if you say that, okay, from 25 to 75%, if something is there, I would take it as an amber. So see, automatically your calculation changes. So less than 25, it will take it as red, 25 to 75 amber. So understand this thing, that it will, first of all, the logic how it does, do its own set RAG in case we don't set. Yes, so in case we don't set our RAG rules, RAG rules, then it will definitely set it of its own. And how it sets, I will tell you. See, when you divide 100 into three sections, so roughly we get 33%. So that is how it actually calculates. So first 33%, it will take it as red. The next 33% means 34 to 67, maybe it will take it as amber, and 67 onwards it will take it as green. However, we have all the freedom to convert or change those RAG rules and provide our own rules, as I have just displayed over here. You can even change the operator also, greater than or equal to, or greater than, or something like this, greater than or equal to, or greater than, whatever. Okay. So ideally it will divide it into three ways. So first of all, it will take the minimum and the maximum, whatever numbers you have got, and then convert it into three sections. So first 33% of that particular data, whatever number it comes, so it will take all those as red, and similarly for amber and green for the next set of. So basically I would say that it divides your data into quartiles. So it will divide it into quartiles, and then each of the quartile will have a different color to say. So by default it will be 33, 67 and 100. If you want to change it, you are most welcome. You can definitely change it whenever you want or wherever you want. So but ideally we will have three icon sets. So see, this is applicable, but if you want four icon sets, then you have an option that you can put all these things. So you can see that if you want to have a quartile of 5 sections, then that is also possible. You can divide your entire data into 5 quarters. So see, directly it automatically takes 20, 40, 60, 80 and 100. Fine. So anything above 100, it will take it as green, or anything between 60 to 80, it will take it as this particular arrow. So these all things you can check, and you can actually define your own arrows, your colors, the way you want, the colors, the flags you want. These all things can be set. So in case we don't set, then system will set of its own. So as we saw that if you take these 5 colors, automatically system selects red down arrow as below 20% and green up arrow as above 80%, and fixes the rest of these 3 arrows within that particular range. So this is how it does 40, 60, 80. So this was a small demo of how icons and data bars can be used within any kind of data. So to just to make it, so if you have seen that some of the KPI dashboards also have these kind of setups or rules. Whenever we have a database or a dashboard, what we show, KPI dashboard or something, so these icon sets are extensively used over there. That is a very good example or a very good way to demonstrate your data. So this was some knowledge that we wanted to share about the data bars and um, the icons, data icons, and conditional formatting takes care of all these items. So conditional formatting in Excel is not a new feature, it's an old feature, but recently it has seen some great advancements. So this is one of those advancements that you have noticed just now. Now, before I move on to the next section, I wanted to show you something as a slide so that it will give you a fair idea about what I'm going to show you next. So just for a moment, I will close this particular file, and I wanted to show you something on data visualization. So the same data we will use for data visualization also. But before we move on to convert, before we move on and convert that particular data, let me show you some real facts about data visualization. So data visualization is a very old concept, and Nigel Holmes, a British person who actually brought it to the mass, to the mainstream, and said that these charts and things can be a visual representation can be utilized for mass audience also, and people can view things very easily if it is presented in a graph format. Okay. So whenever we talk about data visualization, there are two types of data visualization: exploration and explanation. So exploration is all about finding a story, and explanation is telling a story about that particular data, whatever you have. First of all, you explore and then only you can explain. So given any data type or any data set or any range or any table, this is what you have to do at the end. Whatever you finish it up, you have the pivot tables or any other things that you make, but the end objective is to explore and explain. So we will see how to explore and explain through these sessions that we have. Now let's take an example that this is a plain and simple data. Okay, some month, year and sales amount and all these figures are there. But it does not looks very appealing, and I'm not able to understand this particular data when it is presented in a table format. But when the same data is presented in a chart format, it makes some sense for me. Definitely I can see that, okay, there is something in June which has got a negative value. This means it has got some negative impact on my sales. So this is a part of data visualization. Now these data visualization actually follows some rules. We call it Gestalt principle of perception. So proximity, similarity, enclosure, and closure. These are the major principles based on which our charts and graphs are made. So we have something in our mind whenever we see some objects. We tend to think it as a proximity, in a proximity or in a similarity kind of shapes or something. So if you see that our scatter chart, our line chart, our pie charts are actually following these principles of perception. So in Excel also, when we are making charts, we will follow some perception. So there are some issues, common issues with data visualization. We try to put too much information within the data, and at times it might be a disastrous option to choose the display choices or the design that we choose. And there are inconsistent of ordering and placement also. It gives a bad impression to your eyes. So take care of these all things whenever you are making a particular chart or a graph. So this is a bad visualization. This is absolutely wrong way of visualizing data. However, this is a good visualization. So data has been put in a proper manner, and it has been like we have put the call outs and everything within the data so that people can understand what this data is all about. So this is a good visualization of data. Now, whenever we, why we are discussing all these things, because this boils down to our next topic, which is related to pivot charts and pivot tables. So first of all, we will be making a pivot table, and after that, we will be making a pivot chart instantly after that. So that's why before going on to that particular section, I thought I will just give you a glimpse of how to make the charts and what kind of charts will be suitable for the kind of data that we see. So primarily, whenever we talk about charts, we either want to make comparison or distribution or composition or relationship. This is what we want to show whenever we make charts. So these are only the four things. Now, what we have seen that these all things can be achieved in Excel. So we can compare data also, we can show distribution of data also, composition of data also, and relation of data also. And Excel has got all the charts to or to make or to show all these things. So you don't believe, so this is how it looks like. So This is just a thought starter. We can say that whenever you get a data and you are about to plot a chart, follow these rules. So you can see that the chart that you will make after following this rule will be absolutely a nice chart, a relevant chart to what all data that you have got. Most of us know that we use pie chart to show a part of a whole. Now, have you ever thought what is the difference between a pie and a donut? So pie and donut are almost the same thing. They represent part of a whole, but donut specifically, see pie, with pie, you cannot show two series. You can only show one series. It is only feasible to show one series. But if you have two series, two variables, if you have, then you are supposed to use something called donut chart if you want to show part of a whole. So similarly, there are so many other factors, like if you are using one variable and you want to show a distribution of a single variable, then it is supposed to be a line histogram kind of thing. If you have two variables and you want to show the relation, like the way we did it for the forecasting, if you have noticed the toy store forecasting, they had two variables, number of hours, machine hours, and number of products they could make. So there were two variables and they wanted to find out the relation between those two variables, and scatter chart was the best way to do that. So you can see that this is just a demonstration of what kind of charts to take whenever we are like if we are making a dashboard or a presentation to our audience or stakeholders. So this is just a picture, and you can find it in Google also if you just search it. So nothing new that I have made. Similar kind of pictures are available there also. But the main thing that I would like to stress over here is whenever you get a data, you first of all know what that particular data is talking about. So first of all, you take the correlation, then arrange your data, and then you prepare your chart. So arranging of data means putting it into a pivot kind of thing, and then making a chart, and then formatting the chart as you wish. Okay, so this is what I wanted to share with you before we proceed to the next topic. Am I audible to all of you? Yes. So I would suggest you to just check the sound system in case my voice is not audible. Please check it. Okay, good enough. So let's do one thing. We now move on to actual data. This was just a glimpse of what I wanted to show you for the next set of demonstrations. We go back to our sales data and see that this particular data has something to show us. So to show this particular data, what we do, we first of all make a pivot out of data. So once we see that there is nothing to be checked for relationship of data, this is merely a simple data. So the next step before visualizing the data, the next step is to make a pivot out of this particular data. So making a pivot is very simple and very effective also. What do? We select the entire data range. So first of all, we will be selecting the entire data range. The entire data range is selected, and from your keyboard you can either go from insert menu and say pivot table, or from your keyboard you can just press alt D P. It brings up your pivot wizard. Alt D P, this is a shortcut of getting a wizard. And then I suggest that don't go for this wizard. So there are three steps. So this is a mandatory place where you have to come whenever you hit pivot chart. So then what you do, you don't go for this wizard and just say finish, because we want to explore how it actually works. Because if you go through the wizard part of it, then you won't be able to explore that what it actually means and how it actually works. Now whenever you get a pivot, this is the screen that you get. So we have a pivot placeholder, we call it, and on the right hand side you will see the list of fields that we have. And these four quadrants are very interesting. This represents the different sections of the pivot. We can use filters, we can use values, and rows and column data we can also put within a pivot. Now again, I suggest that if you are working for the first time and you want to learn actually what is pivot and how pivot works, then I would suggest don't go for the new view of pivot, and don't drag and drop things here. So ideally what we do, if you just drag and drop values over here, it automatically changes your pivot. You can see here, fine. And if you put rows here, so it automatically change your pivot. So this is the usual way of working with pivot. So you can drag and drop things here, but I suggest that you work with the classical view of pivot for the first time when you are learning pivots or when you are exploring pivots. Okay, one thing very important, Excel or Microsoft Office for that matter um, supports some dynamic menus. Dynamic menus, yes, actually all participants are saying that they can hear me. My voice is audible. So Mohammed, I would request you to please either uh, log out and log in, or check your sound options. Sometimes it might have some technical issues, but from my side I check everything is fine, and I could check from the other participants also that they could hear me. So just check it once again for the sound settings that you have in your system. If you're using an external sound device, just check it once again. Thank you. Okay, so you see that if you are opening a pivot, then automatically what happens, Excel brings up these tables, this particular menu. It says pivot table and pivot tools, pivot table tools. So this is known as something called contextual menu. So Excel or any Microsoft Office software have these contextual menus. So if you are within a pivot, then what will happen, it will give you a pivot chart options. Okay, okay, so just a moment. Something as I'm not able to view it. Okay, just a moment. Okay, fine. Okay, so what we were saying, that if you have this particular data, immediately we can click here and Alt DP, through which you can create a pivot. So the pivot is made, and then what happens, you see the contextual menus here, but I am saying that don't go by this particular options, and right click here, go to pivot table options. For the first time when you are learning pivot, I would suggest to go this particular place, go to display and go to classic pivot layout, and say OK. So this converts your pivot view into this particular in this manner. Now how it actually benefits is that you can actually see uh, yeah. So the moment you take your cursor there, you can see that there is something called row, something called column, something called filter, and this is the drop place or the drop value place. Okay, fine. I will repeat once again. So see, what I wanted to say is that whenever you have a data, and if you want to draw some conclusion out of this data, first of all, you need to make a pivot. For making a pivot, select the entire data, and then either you can go to insert and say pivot table, or what you can do, you can directly from keyboard press Alt D P. It brings up this pivot menu. Now once it is here, you can see that it gives you the new view of pivot. But we don't want that. We go to pivot table options, we go to display, and then there is something called classic pivot layout, which allows you to drag and drop. I find it very easy, and I'm sure people who are learning pivots or people who want to master pivot should always use this classic view to learn first of all. And then what you do, you have to just drag and drop data from here. Okay, so let's take an example that I want to check location wise sales. So what I will do, location wise, when I'm saying, I have to put location in this particular place. And sales is actually a data, so sales has to be there in this particular place. So what it is giving, my location wise sales, whatever I have. Now this is the row part, this is the column, or this is the data part. This is the column part. Now manager says that okay fine, you have put it in a location wise manner. I want to see that all these locations, what they have done per month or monthly wise, how they have performed. I say okay, not a problem. What we can do, we can keep this data over here and we can see that okay, how they have performed throughout the month. Okay, now somebody might ask you or somebody might ask me also that what is the logic of putting months over here and location over here. I said there is no as such logic. It depends on how you want to visualize and how much space you have to visualize the data. But yes, at certain point of time you will see that bringing up the location here would help. Okay, or bringing up the months in this particular place will help. Otherwise there is no as such difference. I will show you. You bring out the month over here, which is absolutely fine, and then you put the location over here. Does it make any difference? It does not make any difference. Fine, it is just the way you want to display the data, the way you want to plot your charts, because the end result will be charts. So again, as I told you, data visualization will not be effective if you are just showing numbers. So the numbers, all of them might seems to be like everything is same, but the moment you convert it into a chart, then you realize that no, there is a difference between this particular data. Fine. Okay, now how about this particular part? So we have seen that okay, we can put data in months, in row and in column, and this is the place where you put the sales. Somebody says that okay, I don't want the sales. I want to see that quantity, how much or how many numbers they have actually sold, or how many numbers they have actually dealt with. Then I will say okay fine, I have quantity over here. At times you might get here, instead of sum you might get count. So it's something like this. So the moment you put, you see that only 1 2 3 1 2 3 coming like this. You say no, this is not possible, because we have done more sales than whatever it is showing. So something is wrong over here. What's wrong is this. See, By default, at times when you draw a pivot, it might take you to this count option. So by default, your pivot might be showing count. So don't panic about that. What you can do, you can simply double click on this particular part and then say sum. So this is sum. So this means you can see quantity, how much, what is the maximum quantity, or what is the actual quantity of items sold in these locations month wise. Now I say that, okay, fine, I am interested in seeing month wise data for all these locations, but I'm not interested to see for all the items. I'm interested to see only laptops and televisions, how they are working, how they are doing. So I said, see, there are different ways of seeing it. But since you are saying that I want to filter, so the word that is coming up is filter, that I want to filter only certain groups. So in that case, we have to put this into group filter, or this filter part. Okay. Now by default, it says, okay, all groups are present. Now what you can do, you say that, okay, I don't want other things, I want only laptop or television. Then what you will do, you will just click here and you can just select the items that you want and say okay. So quickly you can see that, okay, if you talk about laptops and televisions, we did not have any sale of laptops or televisions in Bangalore for the month of November, and Mysore also in the month of November. So there was no sale for these two items. And also we could see that in the month of February, there was no sale of televisions or laptops in this area called Bangapet. Something like this. So from the data also, you can actually say some story. So the first part, you remember, the first part was to explore and see that how you can actually form the story. So the formation of story will be exploration, just dragging, dropping here and there and see that how my data fits and how the data will be effective whenever I am showcasing it to the audience. That is the exploration part of it. However, after exploration, there is something called explanation also, which means that you have to tell some story about this. So telling story will not be effective if you don't put it in a picture format. So people are like, we cannot see numbers properly, but we can see pictures very prominently. So that is the reason why with pivot tables we have something associated very strongly, which is known as pivot charts. So definitely we can see that. Let me show you something, a um, very nice way of converting this data into a dashboard using this pivot charts and pivot tables. Okay, so let's start off with. We will make a simple pivot, and not one pivot. We will be having multiple pivots out here. See, we will be having two pivots for quantity and two pivots for sales. See, how do we make it? I want, first of all, location wise sales. How was my location wise sales? So see, now that you have made a pivot, it is possible to twist it any way you want. Anything can be put based on the questions that you put. So you say you want a location wise sales? Yes, I have it. So that becomes one of the pivot. So I'm just showing you a way how to make a dashboard very effectively. See here what I am doing. Once I have made the pivot, I am just pushing it down a bit. I'll tell you what is the reason behind pushing it down. See, what I want to put some charts over here. And these charts will be based on these pivots. This is what my intention is. So what I will do, I have made one pivot. Instead of making another pivot, what I will do, I will simply copy it and then I will paste it down. Fine. What is the command to push data down? See what I did. I clicked on this row, and then if you press Control Shift and plus, Control Shift and plus, this is the command to add row. Control Shift and plus, and if you press Control minus, this is the command to actually remove rows. Control Shift plus and Control minus. This is applicable for columns as well. If you want to push the column and make some space, then Control Shift plus will actually push it and Control minus will actually move it. Don't worry, what I will do, I will share a list of shortcut keys, and what I suggest my participants, that whenever you are working and in your office, what you can do, you can just paste it in a near your desk, and that will be very helpful for you. And let's say hardly for 15 days you will feel like seeing that paper and doing the things through keyboard, but after 15 days you won't require that particular sheet also. You will be fair enough to work directly on the keyboard, and believe me, working with keyboard is much more easier and much more effective, and it saves time also. So we have a lot of, like almost around 150 shortcuts are there for MS Excel. So I will share that sheet with all of the participants so that you can benefit out of it, and then you can use it in your day-to-day work. So right now I'm pushing it down a bit, and what I did, I just made one more table, one more thing, but this time I don't want it to be location wise. I wanted it to be salesperson wise. So how much Jatin or Kishore or Naveen have done sales during this entire 1 year span? So this is what it is coming. So these are the two pivots. Now I can choose to put these pivots side by side also. You'll see something like this. See, okay, okay. Can you please repeat how second pivot is included? Absolutely. So what we did, we how are you dragging those datas? Okay, we have got some questions related to pivot. I know this is a very important part, and I won't take the things in a haste or hurry. I will answer all of your questions because this is a very important part of Excel. So what I am doing here, the moment I click on this pivot, you see that the entire, so I will answer one by one the questions. The first question I got it, how are you repeating the second pivot? How you are including the second pivot, and what is, I would rather use one more question, that what is the use of doing this? Okay, why, how you are using and why you are using. So the moment you click on the pivot, what happens, you can see the entire range of pivot. Now what I am doing, I'm clicking out here, I'm taking the entire pivot and then just pressing Ctrl C and then clicking somewhere else and then simply making Ctrl V. So this is just a way how to put or duplicate a pivot. This is one thing. I will come back to you saying that why do we require to copy this from the dashboard point of view. Why did we copy paste this particular pivot? I will come back to you. Now the second question was how I am dragging. So dragging is simple, like this. See, the way you are saying it, you can drag your data. Okay. Uh, because I have got so many add-ins in Excel, it is at times not working properly. Okay, good enough. So we are here now. See, let's take an example of this particular pivot. So what we have done, we have copied it and put it in a separate place. That is what we have done only. Now I want to drag and drop. Now let's say I don't have anything over here. So this becomes like this. Now how I'm dragging is I'm just taking the part what I want and then simply pressing my mouse key and then placing it over where we want. Fine. So see here, these two pivots we have done basis sales. One was basis location, one was basis sales lead, and that was based on total sales. And now I'm going to make two charts basis quantity. So when I say basis quantity, what I will do, see here, I will click, I have pressed my mouse and then slowly I am moving it and then I am just releasing my mouse when I have come to this particular place. Okay. Oh, just a moment. It's closing automatically and at times. Okay. So the quantity here, it's come as a simple quantity. Fine. Now I want this quantity to be sales lead wise. So I will just release my cursor here, drag and release. Drag it from here, release it at the specific place where do you want to put this particular data. So this is sales lead wise quantity. And similarly, I wanted to have, let's say, quarter wise quantity. So what I will do, I will again see what I am doing. I am copying these and then coming down and pasting it somewhere like this. And then what I am doing, I remove the sales lead. Sales lead, how you remove? Just push it out of this table or push it out of this pivot, it will get removed. And you want quarter wise data, so you put it like this. So let's say I have four tables, two showing sales value and two showing quantity, two based on quantity and two based on sales amount. Now what I am going to do here is something very useful for you. See, first of all, what I will do, I will put some charts. Now these charts will be based on these particular pivots. So we call it pivot chart. Okay. Now why I have actually made four pivot tables and we have copied it is because so that if we don't have to refresh all the charts. See, whenever you take any of the pivot tables, if some data has changed, you have to come here and say refresh. Now the beautiful part of pivot, if you have copied, is if you refresh one, all the four gets refreshed. So you don't have to individually go and refresh all the pivots. That was one of the reason why I just copy pasted those pivots. So everything is linked now. Okay. 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 Now is the most interesting part of this particular pivot. What we will do, we will come to this particular pivot. You will see that if you clicking outside, there are no menus at the top. The moment you click inside a pivot, the contextual menus come here. Fine. So this is contextual menu. And then actually you can see that you can design or analyze also. In analyze, you will see something called a pivot chart. So automatically, if it is 2013, it will show a chart, it will show a recommended chart and you say, okay, a chart has come here. Fine. Now this chart is linked to this particular pivot table. Okay. What I will do, I will make some modifications here. So this is actually, see how do we put it? Location wise sales. That's it. Just simple. Location wise sales. And what I will do, we will right click here, and I don't want these filters to be here. So I will say hide all buttons from the chart. So just to make it as a simple chart. Looks like a simple chart, but this is actually a pivot chart. Okay, so this is how it looks like, a small chart. Now what we will do, we will take the second pivot and similarly go to the analyze part, pivot chart once again, and we get another chart over here, and we go up and then place this particular chart. Oh my god. Okay, what I will do, this, are you able to view this screen? Because I am not able to view it properly at times. Okay, let's do one thing. For the time being, I will disable all the add-ins so that it does not take much memory space over here. I'll just go to add-ins and I will go to add-in over here, and I have actually some COM add-ins which might be taking some space. So I will remove this COM add-ins. I will show it to you tomorrow. Fine. For the time being, I'm just removing on the COM add-ins. This might save some memory space so that we can get instant views over here. So, okay. So this is the second chart. What I am doing here, I'm just placing it over here, and then I remove or hide my buttons, and then I say that this is actually based on sales lead. So I'm saying that this is, because this is one series, so I am removing that total part, and then I'm saying this is sales lead wise, lead wise sales, you can say, just like lead wise sales. Simple. Lead wise sales. So two charts made. Let's talk about the third chart. And then if we click on this particular, oh my god. Okay. Okay. Let's take this third chart and then go to analyze and make another pivot chart. This is the third chart we are making. So this is quantity, lead wise quantity. We can mention it over here. This is lead wise quantity. I'll make sure that I save it so that it is absolutely fine, and hide it and remove this total as well. Okay, can you please hide chat window? Okay, Is it visible now to all of you? Oh, okay. Okay, so still see chat window, only voice is heard. Okay, so that is what the reason was. I think some technical issues which is taking place, maybe because of which you are not able to hear it properly, and I'm also getting disconnected at some time. Let me do one thing. I'll just come back. So in the meantime, let's take a short break for 5 minutes. I will just re-log in. Just give me 5 minutes of time. I will check the system and then I'll re-log in. So meanwhile, just take a 5 minutes break and we will be back. Thank you. Thank you all of you for joining this particular session. We'll be back in 5 minutes.